On Fanalysis, we combine the analytics made popular in fantasy football with the betting trends, and we give you the best analysis on how the pros are laying their money. We are now joined by Frank Stampfl of Sports Grid to talk about the top plays of Week 11. And right at the top of the list, the New York Jets. The Redskins, 1-point favorites at home against the Jets. Now, favorites usually get a majority of the money, but the public and the pros are hammering the dog here. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with Dwayne Haskins, obviously, right? We haven't seen Dwayne Haskins make a lot of plays so far for the Washington Redskins, and he's been named the starting quarterback for the rest of the season for this team. And ultimately, I think the Jets are going to bring a lot of pressure Dwayne Haskins' way. We know that Greg Williams likes to send the blitz, and currently on the season, his passer rating when being pressured this year is 6.7. I mean, that is astronomically bad. It's a very small sample size, but he hasn't dealt well with pressure so far. And you know, since Bill Callahan has taken over as the interim head coach for Washington, they want to try to run the ball as well, right? And that feeds right into the strength of the Jets' defense right now. We just saw Saquon Barkley rush 13 times last week for 1 yard. Yeah. So ultimately, I don't know that the Washington Redskins are going to be able to run the ball in this spot. The Jets are allowing 3.01 yards per carry to opposing running backs this season. That is the lowest mark in the NFL. They are second in run defense DVOA. So all these things are adding up to, I know it's tough to put your money on the Jets and Adam Gase the way things have gone, but I can't lay points with Washington right now.
I mean, you're right about this. If Saquon Barkley only gets 1 yard, what is Darius Geis going to get as he's coming back? Or Adrian Peterson, you know, when he steps back out there? That's the thing about this Jets defense. They're strong against the run. They just give up a lot of yards through the air. And that's the one thing that the Redskins aren't doing very well.
Yeah, and they have a great wide receiver, rookie wide receiver Terry McLaurin, and it's weird because him and Haskins went to college together at Ohio State, but we haven't seen that rapport, that connection yet at the NFL level. So what I'm thinking is the Jets are going to send a lot of pressure Dwayne Haskins' way. They're going to ask him to, beat their corners in one-on-one coverage, and I don't know that he's capable of doing that. And if they try to run the football, the Jets are going to be ready for that as well. They've been really, really good against the run, all things pointing towards the Jets dominating in this game.
All right, let's talk about the Dolphins. 5.5-point home dogs to the Bills. Miami's won 2 straight games, and the Bills are desperate to stay playoff relevant. Where does the sharp money land in this game?
Yeah, the money is coming in on the Buffalo Bills right now, right around 83% of the money on the Bills. And I know it's hard to get in the way of the Miami Dolphins right now. 2 straight wins. They are on a 5-game ATS win streak, so they are covering games as well. But ultimately, I think this is a good bounce-back spot for the Buffalo Bills. You know, last time we were here talking about the Bills and Dolphins matchup, we had to lay nearly 2 touchdowns. Now we only have to lay around 5.5 points here. And the reason why I say it's a good matchup for the Bills is the Dolphins are allowing 4.73 yards per carry to opposing running backs. They are 30th in run defense DVOA. And over the past 3 weeks, we're seeing rookie running back Devin Singletary get more involved. He's playing right around 67% of the snaps over the past 3 games for the Buffalo Bills. And I think he needs more work. And I think that we're going to get that this week. And ultimately, it's going to lead to a dominating performance here for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, they are. They're ratcheting up their rushing attack, including Josh Allen ran one in as well. So now that you're seeing a Bills team that has always kind of wanted to run the ball, and they're finally getting the ball to the young guy that they want to carry this offense more or less.
Yeah, and I think that he's going to be more involved again this week. And on the other side of the football, it's a revenge game for Ryan Fitzpatrick, but the secondary is actually the strength of the defense.
Every game is a revenge game.
Right. Seems like he's played for every team in the NFL at this point here, Steve. But I don't think that he's going to be able to throw the ball effectively, and the way to attack this Bills defense is on the ground with the run. Now that Kenyon Drake is with the Arizona Cardinals, no longer with the Dolphins, Mark Walton has been suspended. Their starting running back is Kalen Ballage. He has rushed 55 times this year for 113 yards. That's 2.1 yards per carry. You're not going to be able to beat the Buffalo Bills running that way.
Need a yard, he'll get you 2. Need 3 yards, he'll get you 2. The Saints giving 5 to the Bucs in Tampa. No team in the NFL gives up more passing yards than the Bucs. Is this like a perfect recipe for Drew Brees and the Saints?
That's exactly what I'm thinking here, Steve. I think it's a bounce-back spot here after losing at home against the Atlanta Falcons, right? Just when you think you have everything figured out in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons come off the bye and they dominate the New Orleans Saints. It was just a crazy game. It was the first game since Drew Brees has been with the Saints that they have not scored an offensive touchdown in a game. Yeah. So I am buying low on the New Orleans Saints in this spot. Tampa Bay, they're 0-4 straight up and 0-4 ATS in their last 4 games as a betting underdog. And the Saints are going to bring pressure. They are 5th in the NFL in quarterback pressures. And Jameis Winston this season, when he's kept clean, he has a passer rating of 95.6. When he's under pressure, that drops all the way down to 52. So I'm looking for Jameis Winston to struggle in this spot, and I'm looking for the Saints to dominate through the air as well. With Michael Thomas, he should be able to, because the Bucs allow the 4th most receptions to wide receivers, the 2nd most yards, and they are tied for the most touchdowns. Michael Thomas is on pace for 153 receptions. Wow. That is on pace to break Marvin Harrison's single-season record.
That it would. Thomas and Evans both playing in this game, the top 2 receivers in the NFL, though I'm a little curious about Evans because he's had 1 game this year where he was held to 0 catches, and that was against the Saints in Week 5. What is it about the Saints defense that was able to keep Evans from even making a catch in that last one?
Well, it's actually Marshawn Lattimore, who is not expected to play this week. So that actually does favor the Tampa Bay Bucs in this spot. But still, the way that they've played as underdogs so far this season, not being able to cover in this spot, I think this is a really good just bounce-back opportunity for the New Orleans Saints. If they would have won at home against the Atlanta Falcons, this spread is likely 7.5, maybe even bigger than that. So because the New Orleans Saints lost that game, you have an opportunity to buy low on them.
It is a roller coaster ride with Tampa Bay every single week. Some days it's going to be high, some days it's going to be low. All right, the winless Bengals have pretty much replaced the Dolphins as the most inept team in the NFL. They're now getting 10.5 points in Oakland. Are the Sharps seeing Oakland as a playoff team, or are they seeing the Bengals as a team that's tanking?
I think maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe it's a combination of both. I would lean personally with the latter there, with a team that's tanking right now. They have a first-year head coach in Zach Taylor. They haven't really been able to do much. They insert Ryan Finley last week, who was a rookie quarterback, and he just looked completely lost against the Baltimore Ravens. He threw a pick-6. He fumbled for a touchdown as well. And let's give credit to John Gruden, man. This Oakland Raiders offense, they are playing great, averaging 6.1 yards per play on the season. That is 4th in the NFL. And they're going to be able to run in this spot. Their rookie running back, Josh Jacobs, is averaging 101 rushing yards per game over his last 5. The Bengals are allowing 116.4 rushing yards per game on the season. That's the 3rd most. This offensive line for the Raiders has played extremely well. They are top 4 in both run blocking and pass protection, according to Football Outsiders. So I'm just looking at this as a game where they can just completely dominate here for the Oakland Raiders. Everybody, not just the public, not just the Sharps, everybody's on the Oakland Raiders this week.
I'm just wondering what that Raiders team would look like if Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper were still on that roster. But they do have Josh Jacobs, the rookie running back you're talking about. And Pro Football Focus has Josh Jacobs with the highest rating for a rookie running back since Adrian Peterson. That's some pretty high praise for what Jacobs brings to the table. And I like how the Raiders offense is now being built. It's now being built by running the ball and using his legs as, I guess, the centerpiece of that offense.
Absolutely. And the way that the offensive line has played, I mean, it's a perfect blend. It's a perfect storm here for Josh Jacobs because he's a really talented running back himself, as you pointed out with the Pro Football Focus grades. But the fact that this offensive line is dominating the way that they have, Richie Incognito missed the first couple of games this year due to suspension. But since he's come back, that offensive line has just been playing lights out. And the elusiveness of Josh Jacobs, and now they're starting to use him more in the passing game as well. I mean, that only means good things for this Oakland Raiders offense.
All right, if you're betting the NFL games this weekend, that is a look at the top plays to consider. Make sure you check out our other segments on leans and toss-up bets. For Frank Stampfl of Sports Grid, I'm Steve Overmyer. This is Fanalysis.